KHOU 11 News at 5:30 starts now.
A cold front is coming along with rain. What you need to know as you prepare for the work week. Plus, the loss of a legend, former senator and World War II hero Bob Dole has died. We're going to look back at his remarkable life.
When something happened like that with a little child getting shot, the only thing you can do is just put prayers in for the family.
We begin tonight, though, with gun violence on Houston's south side. An 11-year-old girl is in the hospital after being shot multiple times at her home. Hello, everyone. I'm Xavier Walton. Thank you for joining us. That 11-year-old girl was taken to a hospital in serious but stable condition. Right now, police are searching for suspects and a motive. It happened early this morning at a home on Blanchard Hill Lane. Brittany Ford has the very latest on the investigation, including newly released surveillance video.
Surveillance video shows a dark-colored SUV driving out of a Southwest Houston neighborhood moments after neighbors heard this.
They was really shooting because it was over 100 or some shots going out here.
Houston police say two men in the car pulled up to a home here on Blanchard Hill Lane around 5:30 Sunday morning, firing shots into the home, striking an 11-year-old girl. Police say no one else in the home was hurt. The little girl, shot in the arm, head, and leg, was taken to Texas Children's Hospital.
So I heard about the little baby over here getting shot up like that, and then that just, that reaches out to your heart.
Avery Washington lives across the street. He says he knows the mother and three children who live at the home.
And they some nice little girls, they quiet.
And is still trying to wrap his head around what happened.
And it's just for this to happen like this it's stupid.
Police say the gunman seen leaving in this SUV left multiple shell casings behind. As investigators work to answer the question of why, Washington says.
But when something happened like that with a little child getting shot, the only thing you can do is just put prayers in for the family.
Brittany Ford, KHOU 11 News.
And anyone with information on this shooting involving the 11-year-old girl is asked to call Crime Stoppers. You could get a $5,000 reward if your tip leads to an arrest. All right, now to the weather. Prepare for rain, possibly storms tomorrow as a cold front moves through the area. Kim Castro is tracking the system. Kim, we asked for cooler weather, but it's coming along with that rain.
Yeah, it really is. Right now, it's kind of the waiting game that we're looking at right now. So calm conditions temperature-wise, we're going to see some of that fog develop overnight. Some of those storms that you're talking about could bring the potential for severe activity by tomorrow morning. Behind the front, we're going to be breezy and we're going to be cooler. High temperature for tomorrow, 74 degrees, is going to be felt in the early part of the day. Behind that front, we're going to see a sharp temperature drop. We'll be more in line with where we should be for this time of year. Here's a look at FUTURETRACK. So calm evening tonight, cloud cover building in. Some of that will show itself in the form of fog. Patchy, less dense than what we've been seeing the last couple of early mornings. We'll see some scattered showers by 3:30 overnight. We'll see that push towards the coast right around 7. That's ahead of the big front that's pushing in right around the lunch hour. So our northern counties should start seeing that wet weather at around 10 and 11 o'clock in the morning. Houston metro area right around noon. Some pockets of those cells have the potential to be severe like we talked about. Now moving offshore right around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So some of these will linger for a little while, and we could see some accumulation of some heavier precip. Right now, cold air is to the north, that jet stream dividing us with some warm air. Now, it's once we see that dip in the jet stream, when that front pushes through, that we're going to see some interesting unsettled weather. So there's the front right there, noon, like we talked about, when those showers push through. Now, the reason this is unsettled weather is because the cold air aloft, it's going to act counterintuitively with the warm air at the surface, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But the reason why the Storm Prediction Center has us under a marginal risk for some severe weather is because we have all of that moisture that we've been pumping in from the Gulf the last couple of days, and temperatures have been unseasonably warm too. So this is going to be for eastern counties mainly. So Liberty, San Jacinto, Polk, even parts of eastern Harris and Montgomery County, Walker County, and parts of Chambers too. So eastern edges of the counties will be under this marginal risk for some severe weather. Now, the bulk of the severe weather will stay in what's known as the Dixie Alley. So Arkansas, Mississippi, Tennessee, they have the biggest threat to see tornadic activity, although we're not out of the woods just yet either. So the three ingredients for severe weather: moisture. We know we've had plenty of it this week. Next ingredient, a lifting mechanism, which will be the front in order to scoop up all of that moisture. Third ingredient is instability. What I mean by that is a big discrepancy between temperatures at the surface and temperatures aloft. Warm air rises, especially when it's moist air. It cools less slowly, so it's allowed to lift even further. Damaging winds, that's the number one threat with this severe weather for tomorrow. We've got periods of heavy downpours potentially, and can't rule out the possibility for some isolated tornadoes. An EF0 tornado packs wind speed at 65 to 85 miles an hour. Right now on FUTURECRACK wind speeds, we start off the morning right around 10 to 15 miles an hour, but look at how that front pushes through, really heightening up those wind speeds. 25 miles an hour in Conroe, 33 in Cleveland. Everybody is seeing the 20s by the time that front passes through, right at 1:30 in the afternoon. Now, once that pushes away, it'll be around 5:30 when we start to scale back into the teens. What are we looking at in terms of moisture potential? So right now we're forecasting the severe weather to the east, and these areas in blue and in purple indicate rainfall totals at 1 to 2 inches, maybe even some areas of 3 inches. Now it just takes a little shift for some of our areas to get that heavy downpour potential. But for right now, we're forecasting right around ½ an inch for most spots. A couple spots will push into the 1 inch territory. But for the most part, the bulk of the moisture staying to the east. 7-day forecast for you. Yep, we'll see that high very early in the morning. In the afternoon, we'll be in the 60s. We're going to stay in the 60s through Tuesday. Moisture lingers behind this front. In fact, we'll have a warm front pushing through. So shower chances stay with us through Wednesday. We're drying up for Thursday, Friday. The next front is scheduled for Saturday. Behind this front for Sunday, long-range models show us that we could be in the 50s. So big changes headed our way. You want to stay with the forecast.
All right, Kim Castro, big changes. This first part of the week going to be interesting. All right, thanks, Kim. Well, at least 17 states have now identified of the Omicron coronavirus variant, Georgia joining that growing list today. Officials there say the infected person recently traveled from South Africa. Experts say they are encouraged by early reports indicating this variant could be less dangerous than Delta. However, they say it's still too early to know that for sure. Meantime, there still have been no reports of the Omicron variant cases right here in Texas. All right, now to the passing of a political icon and World War II hero, former Senator Bob Dole, gone at the age of 98. Growing up in a blue-collar family in Kansas, Dole rose to become one of the most powerful politicians of the 20th century. Here's a look back at his remarkable life of service.
Bob Dole was the kind of politician you'll have a hard time finding in Washington these days. Much of the country only saw the cartoon image, Hatchet Man.
Senator Dole has richly earned his reputation as a hatchet man tonight.
Sharp-tongued partisan.
I used election promise from my opponent.
Pundits who didn't know better labeled him mean-spirited, but the man wasn't defined by grouchiness or gridlock. In the Senate, where he spent the bulk of his political life, Dole became a master at forging compromise, working with Democrats to cobble together bills that left the country better off. A food stamp bill with George McGovern, the Americans with Disabilities Act with Tom Harkin, Social Security reform with Daniel Patrick Moynihan. He also was a driving force behind Washington's magnificent World War II memorial.
I've sort of become the unofficial greeter. I try to greet every group. I can't explain the emotion and what it means to one of these 85, 90, 95-year-old veterans who get a chance to touch and feel the World War II memorial. It's probably the best thing that's happened to them in years, and they're going to remember it the rest of their life.
Dole was one of those young Americans who went off to the war. On a hillside in Italy, an explosion severely damaged his shoulder and spinal cord. Dole spent 39 months in hospitals, hovering near death more than once. His right hand remained virtually useless for the rest of his life. His mind, however, was fine. Voters in his home state of Kansas sent Dole to Washington for 5 terms, where he thrived, becoming a Republican leader in the Senate. He was President Gerald Ford's running mate in 1976 and ran for president in 1980 and 1988, finally winning the Republican nomination in 1996.
William Jefferson Clinton has a job for 4 more years.
It didn't work out.
It's a lot more fun winning. It hurts to lose an election, but stay involved and keep fighting the good fight.
A 45-year political career was over. Dole moved on with grace. He poignantly saluted the casket of fellow Republican but frequent rival George Bush. And to the end, Dole kept the trademark humor so familiar to those who knew him and so surprising to those who did not.
We always tried to have a little fun. My view is if it's not any fun, it's not worth doing. You look at your life and on reflection, I think success and failure are not opposites. It's just part of your life.
President Biden served alongside Dole in the Senate for more than 20 years. He released this statement you're seeing on your screen saying Dole was, quote, a war hero and among the greatest of the greatest generation. And to me, he was also a friend whom I could look to for trusted guidance, or a humorous line at just the right moment to settle frayed nerves. The president added he will miss his friend, as will the world. Bob Dole, 98 years old. All right, well, that is all the time we have. We're going to have much more coming up on TV tonight, right about 10:30, KHOU 11 News. Hope to see you then.